You are my
Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and in the studio with me on this day, we have two special guests. We have Mr. James Hudson, who is a gospel artist and also a member of Apostolic Church of God in Chicago. Correct. And also sitting next to him is Mr. Kevin Huff. He is also a member of Apostolic Faith Church of God in Chicago. He's also the brand manager for Mr. Hudson, as well as client manager for Google Maps. No wonder I can't find where I'm going. So welcome.
A slight correction.
Yes.
It's the Apostolic Church of God and not Apostolic Faith. Okay. That's our sister church.
Oh, praise.
And people make that mistake a lot.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure. Well, I want to make sure that I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So before we get into the subject matter, and that subject matter is, does music convert to leadership? And the responsibility that music, when you're singing music, is more than just singing notes. But before we get into that, I just want to say that on October 21st, I will be hosting my first annual event entitled Side Streets and Intersections Celebrate You. It is a networking party / just a way to say that I appreciate my listeners. I appreciate you. If you're not being appreciated, come on out on October 21st from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Free parking, no cover, free food. We're going to do what it does, and we're just going to have a really, really good time. Also, on October 29th, if you are in the vicinity, please help us come and celebrate Divas Inc. as they host their 5th annual Pretty in Pink affair, as it raises awareness to breast cancer. So come on out, and also make sure you come on out because I will be one of the featured talents for that evening. Look out.
Looking out.
And I just want to say that, getting back to my special guest, first of all, Mr. Hudson, just tell us who you are. I gave kind of an overview, but tell the people who you are.
Well, I first of all, I'm a servant of God, and I'm a gospel singer and a writer and producer of music, and I work with youth.
Okay. And youth in what capacity?
Well, I have a couple of programs. One of the programs that I've just recently launched, it's called Life Through Lenses. And it's Life Through Lenses is shoot guns and shoot cameras and not guns. And it's teaching young folks photography. So I teach young people photography. I purchased some cameras from Canon and Nikon, and I purchased the cameras and I'm teaching them photography. I have some volunteer photographers, some photographers well-known photographers that are going to be teaching, and I've also developed a board. But what we do is not only do we teach photography, but it has a writing component, and we teach them how they write stories. They write about what the pictures that they take, and you'd be surprised with some of the stuff that they come up with.
Tell me ages.
And the ages are from 12 to 16, and that's my target, from 12 to 18. And I say 12 to 18 because beyond 16, 17, somebody else has got their mind. Their mind is on something else. And these are between 12 and 16. They're not so jaded, and they're having impressionable minds.
Absolutely. And Mr. Huff.
Yes.
Tell us about who you are.
Well, just to write off, James here, servant of God, first and foremost. He is my anchor in everything I do. He opens my eyes up to the creativity I do at Google Maps, to the reaching out, to the branching I do at Apostolic Church of God, of just reaching out to our youth, and particularly to the college bound, or people who are actually coming back and they want to know, okay, where do I start? I'm kind of lost right now because the map I was given 4 years ago isn't the map I need anymore. So finding ways to reconnect and find their moral compass, because that has a lot to do with what you want to do in life. It
Absolutely.
Opens up the messages that our minds want to open up to, but we for some reason, we find a way and reroute. And I find that that buffering, that look kind of like on Google Maps, that buffering on where you are on the route that you think you are, but then you stop and it's saying relocating. That's where I come in.
Absolutely. So let me just say that I met Mr. Huff at Argosy University, where I'm a student currently in the doctoral program, and I was having some IT problems.
All right.
And they referred me to Mr. Huff
Yeah,
to get this working.
Yeah.
And after I think a couple of minutes, we were able to work out the problem, and I was able to download all of the information I needed for my literature review. So I want to thank you, Mr. Huff.
No
it's good to know good people in good places, IT people. Yes. And also I want to say that I think it's amazing what you all are doing. We can never have enough programs, particularly for our children.
Right.
And that's not to say that other races don't need it, but our children in particular, because we have become almost an endangered species.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that when Mr. Huff reached out to me and he said, hey, let's talk. What are you doing? And I said, well, I have a radio show. And I just want to thank, let me just interject something. I want to thank Mr. Earl Winfrey, the other Winfrey. He saw something in me. Amen. I was a guest on someone else's show.
Amen.
And he said to me, initially he said, well, you should run for politics. I don't know if I'm kind of cut off of that, but I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Dangerous game.
yeah. So ugly game. It's an ugly game. And so I kind of set on the idea. It kind of goes back to what you were saying with respect to Google Maps. Sometimes these students come back from universities or higher levels of education, and the map that they have maybe sketched out for themselves, the blueprint, is something different now.
Yes.
And so my life has now taken on a different turn. I've been on with Intellectual Radio, I want to say since April. Okay. And the capacity to reach other people, because not only are we just heard here in the state of Illinois, we are an iHeart radio station. Yes. We are also heard on Spreaker. Let me say that correct, Spreaker. And so we are gaining notoriety because I think that there's enough opportunity out here for everyone.
Absolutely.
But I think that when you're given the platform to enhance the lives of other people, you understand that it really isn't about you. It's not about me being on this platform because, oh, I speak so well, or, oh, I have the voice for radio. It is about helping to catapult other people to the level that they want to get to. So let's get back into the music, because it's more than just notes, singing notes.
Absolutely.
And so how would you say that your singing converts to a form of leadership?
Well, I all I know is what's said in a song, and what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So I just write songs from my heart, and I talk about life experiences. So what comes from my heart hopefully reaches the heart. My music, I describe it as electrifying medicine. It's healing qualities in the music that I write about, and it's about life experiences. It's certainly about Jesus Christ and his redemption plan for my life and our lives. But I do write about daily experiences in my music, and some of the songs on the CD, People Get Ready, has to deal with with sort of Curtis Mayfield's version of the resurrection song, People Get Ready, there's a train coming. I'm doing Sadie on there. I'm doing a lot of, and they're timeless songs. And I chose these songs because these songs truly are timeless pieces that we're not doing that kind of music anymore. That genre is rapidly disappearing. And so and it was just in a small way trying to keep that kind of music alive, because that music was message music, baby making music, love music. It was a romantic music, and so I want to keep that kind of music alive. And I'm not putting down hip hop, because hip hop is powerful. And it's universal and worldwide. It is a powerful a medium, but a lot of it puts people down in some ways, and there's a lot of anger in that music. And I ain't about being angry. I'm all about love, and peace. And I seek peace, and I try to do it through my music. So yeah, I want to reach the hearts and the minds of people through the music, which is medicine.
Hey, that sounds like a plan to me. Now, just for clarification, Mr. Huff, Kevin, tell the people, what is a brand agent?
Brand agent. So how that came about is James had approached me about the social media piece primarily. And that is important because it's free, but also it's not cheap, because you have to really engage in the image that you're receiving from your audience, but also the people who don't know you. What do you look like when people are passing through? So when he spoke to me about the social media piece, I automatically thought of branding. I say you don't just need just marketing schemes and little images here or there, or even ways to reroute. That's a funny word today. Reroute your audience back to you. You actually need to be a statue of something.
So let me ask you, give the people, our listeners as well as viewers, give them a little bit about your educational background so that they understand that you know what you're talking about and you just don't sound and look good on the radio.
Oh, no. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of chiming into this. I received my bachelor's at the Illinois Institute of Art Chicago in marketing and management. And right now I'm pursuing and in mid-completion of my MBA in strategic thinking and international marketing. And that's going to lead into the doctoral program of where you are.
Absolutely.
Yes. And all of my experiences have been working offhand with Starbucks, doing little side projects for them as well, working with BlackBerry, working with campaigns that before they kind of went off the radar with smartphones, working in that capacity for them. Also just working with no-name companies that are just startups, but I've seen the highs and lows specifically, and I have the portfolio to prove it and the contacts to prove it. So when I see James, I see something big, but I also see all of these small ventures we can start at. And my experiences, I would say, and my education comes from the Lord still, just because of what he shows me. I believe people are the best commodities we have, and the amount of marketing managers I've ran into, even with Google Maps, just because we specifically work with decision makers. So just helping them with their schemes and their strategic places where they want to be. I've found ways to install that into my repertoire and help anybody who needs it.
Wow, amazing. So once again, I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and spending time with me. As you can see, we're just having a conversation and having a good time. And I think that we've kind of gotten away from that. Sometimes and it's not to put any other stations down because I'm all pro radio. However, my approach is to make you feel comfortable when you come here at IntellectualRadio.com. And on that note, we're going to take a musical break here on Side Streets and Intersections on IntellectualRadio.com.
You don't want to miss this train. So Lord, we thank you in advance. People get ready, get ready. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just get on board. You just get on board. Get on board. You don't need no ticket, you just get on board. So people get ready for the train to glory, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open the doors and board them. There's room.
Welcome back to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. And just in case you are looking to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. Because if you're hungry, it's because you must be fed. Now back to my special guest and the subject matter at hand. Does music convert to leadership?
Well, I live the life that I sing about in my songs. So certainly I'm by nature a leader and by nature gifted by God. And I feel sorry for people who don't know what their gift is. I clearly know what my gift is. And I think in music makes a difference. I can tell you the time of the season and what year a song came out in. I can tell you what I was doing at that particular time. If it was song was 5 years ago, I say, well, I was in Los Angeles 5 years ago when that song came out. But songs shape our minds, and their expression, their expression of life. They express life, and so so I write about. I'm working on a song. I just working on it last night, and it's called what's the name? God is watching. And in some of the lyrics are you washed in the water, or are you washed in the blood, or are you stuck in the mud? God is watching. So I talk about situations in life, and in the song and in the songs that I write about, I talk about life experience, and I challenge people's thinking, and I try to jog their thinking. I write thought-provoking music. All my music is thought-provoking. I didn't think about that. So I say something, I make a statement, and the statement, I want to jar your thinking with the statement. And if it stimulates you and motivates you to go out and help somebody, then so be it. And I just make the statement, it's up to you.
Now, during the musical break, we actually had the opportunity, and we were blessed with an excerpt from the title of the CD, and talk about the song. What does the song represent?
Well, people get ready. It kind of deals with, first of all, it's one of my favorite artists, Curtis Mayfield, and that song it's a resurrection song. It deals with the last days that we're in. We're in our last days, make no question about it. So it's saying people get ready. It should be really people be ready, not people get ready.
Absolutely.
Not get ready, be ready, because we're in some turbulent times right now, and life is full of snares and toils, and we just have to be ready to meet the challenges. This world we live in is going to pot, and it's headed for a collision. It's on a collision course, and so I try to write about songs like "People Get Ready." That's what this song is about. Get ready. I'm challenging your thinking. I'm challenging your consciousness. That's what I'm about, challenging people's consciousness.
So let me ask you, how long have you been singing?
And 3 decades.
Oh, and also, were there ever times during your career when you questioned your path, and how were you able to overcome that? Or was it did you always know that this is what I'd be doing?
Oh, I knew God gifted me. I knew when He gifted me. I know when I was saved. I mean, I always had the gift from birth, but I knew when I was saved. I never questioned. Only one time in the course of these 25 to 30 years I've been doing this stuff have I questioned direction, and the only time that was whether I wanted to get on the road, go all the straight RB, and somebody said, God said, no, you got to raise a family. you got to raise a family first, and there'll be time for that. And so he's made provisions in my life for that. So now I'm a free slave, and I pretty much do what I want to do.
You hit on the nerve right there when you said free slave, because interesting enough, I just posted on my Facebook. I celebrated 18 years in law enforcement. However, while at work, I began to observe many of my coworkers, and it dawned on me that they had thrown in the towel, that they had pretty much accepted their fate, that 30 years is what they had assigned themselves to be sentenced to. And I thought about it, and I said, I have to do something different.
Yeah.
Because what I recognize is that the 30 years that which they had assigned themselves to was not particularly because of the fruits of their own labor,
Right.
but it was the fruits of labor that was placed upon them by their overseer.
Right. Amen. Now you talking now.
Right.
You getting ready to start something now, sister.
And so it dawned on me that it's time to do something different.
Well, he and I, we had that conversation on our way here.
Yeah.
So nothing is by osmosis, everything is by divine
we
order.
had that.
Yeah.
We had that very conversation, and I was just talking about how much I love and respect this brother and this brother's consciousness and where his head is as a young brother out here trying to help people, and the fact that I'm feeding on his energy. You know, I'm older than him, so I'm feeding on his energy, and that I'll never throw in a child. I'm faithful unto death. I'm faithful unto death in what I'm doing.
It's funny that you said that, because I made the statement that I am willing to die for what I believe in.
Oh yeah.
And so that being said, whether imposed by my own actions or the actions of other people, I am willing to fight for that which I believed in, because we all hear about the humbleness of Christians, the humbleness but we also need to understand the stories that they fought for what they believed in.
Christians ain't no punks.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, as it pertains to leadership, we don't understand a lot of times that when we say that I'm going to fight in this good old fight, he doesn't tell you what the task's going to be.
No.
He says, oh, so you agreed that you would fight.
Right.
Now you find yourself in this dilemma, and you're trying to question, why me? Well, he said, well, remember back when you was a young person, you said you was going to do this. Remember you gave your life back to me. Remember you did all those things? Well, now it's time for you to fight. So I just want to say that nothing is by coincidence. The mere fact that I was having issues at the university that evening when I met Mr. Kevin Huff, and he was so humble. And I mean, he was really patient, because I was like, I'm not getting this. And he was really, really patient until we worked out the kinks in terms of the IT problems. And so I want to thank you, because you helped me download my papers, and that converted me getting an A on that paper. So thank you.
Yeah, he's a smooth brother. He has a very calming effect.
Yes. And so, I'm excited, because I want to make sure that this is not the last time that we meet and that we interact.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit more about your music.
Okay.
And sometimes in those quiet times, do you have a certain way that you write, or does it just kind of happens for you?
Well, a lot of people say, well, I'm having writer's cramps. I've never had writer's cramps. I'm always try to be cognizant and conscious of what I say. I want to say it the right way. If it offends somebody, so be it. But I want to say it in such a way that it becomes effective, that you understand what I'm writing about. I mean, I have values and principles that govern my life, and I live by those principles, and I'll die by those principles. So I want to write about daily living, life situations, and that's those. And so I think about how I want to say this. If it's about if it's about teenage pregnancy, if it's about somebody putting a needle in their arm,
Right.
I want to write about that. But I have to say it in such a way that I make a point. And so, yeah, I just write about life. And in this new music, I'm excited about it because I ain't got no structured guidelines. I ain't trying to be. I'm just saying it. I'm saying it. And I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be negative. I'm gonna be positive. And if you step on your toe, I just step on your toe. You know, I ain't sorry for. I make no apologies. I believe what I believe, and I believe until I die. I refuse to remain silent, and I'll proclaim who I am shamelessly. I love God, and I make no apology.
Well, you have heard it. You have heard it. And on that note, we're going to go to another musical break while we entertain Mr. James Hudson, CD Timeless.
La da 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 da, yeah. Ooh, oh yeah. Stepping out on faith. This is your season. Stepping out on faith. Nothing can hold me back. Stepping out on faith. Stepping out on faith. Your history's not your destiny. It's so hard to cope when your back's against the wall. Pressure's mounting up, no one to call. Sunrise or storm, bitter or sweet, you must never accept defeat. So I'm stepping out on faith. Stepping out on faith. Stepping out on faith. Stepping out. Nothing can. It's time I'm living for me. Stepping out. Stepping out on faith. Now faith don't demand detail.
Welcome back to SideStreets And Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. What you have just heard is called Stepping Out on Faith. For all my steppers that like to step in the name of God, you can get it where?
You can get it on my website at jameshudsonsings.com. You can also get it on iTunes. It's in all the social media. You can get it anywhere in the social media.
SoundCloud.
You name it. SoundCloud. I'm in all of them. I'm in all the stores.
Wow.
I've got about 8 stores.
Oh, wow.
On the internet. Yeah, Amazon, all of them. Yeah.
So for people that would like to, you gave us the website and where we could purchase your music. But if a person actually wanted to come and hear you do live recording or where can they find you? And what is your next event that's coming up?
Well, I have currently about 8 events for the rest of the year, and a lot of them are private, but I'm planning a CD release party. You're the first one to play this CD. Mm-hmm. So I'm having a CD release party. I'm identifying a vendor, but you can go on my website, and my schedule is on the website, so you can go there. Some of those events are private, some of them aren't private. Like the last 3 weeks, they've been sort of private things, but there are some that are not. And I'm planning some concerts. I'm finishing a CD, a Mother's Day CD, and it's dedicated to mothers. Every CD on it is about women and mothers, and so that CD, I'm excited about that because it's a sit down dinner, and we're gonna have women with testimonies. I got a woman who had she had her liver removed, and most people can't even get one. She got 2. You know, I got a person with shot in the head and brain, and she lived, and I got some stories. So they're gonna be doing testimonies, and at the end of the program, I got this one song I wrote where we're gonna hold up a candle and we're gonna call out the mothers' names. We call it your mother's name, his mother, my mother's name, and we're gonna hold candles, and that picture's gonna be flashed on the screen.
Wow.
And we just gonna call out their names, and living or dead. So when you call out the person's name, you're automatically you keep them alive.
Yes.
And that's the way that you keep people alive, even if they're dead, is to continue to call out their name. So we're going to call out their name and flash their picture and hold up a candle. Hopefully it won't be a dry eye in the house. And they're going to bring their mothers. Everybody's going to bring their mother.
Well, I want to make sure that I am there for that event.
I want you to be there.
And before we get off the air, I'm also a poet, so I think it would only be befitting to do this piece.
Oh, amen.
I have an unction from the Holy One, my spiritual father, because I didn't have an earthly one. And for many years, I suffered in shame while guilt of rejection, while seeking lifestyles of the rich and the superficial famous. See, I was hell-bent on a place of destruction because back then, I had never been in one place for no longer than 6 years, because see, 7 years would define a year of completion, which brings me to tears that he had already forgiven me. And in my quest to understand all of the hurt and pain, I used the pain to mask the hurt, and I used the hurt to express my pain. Placated, inoculated to a generational curse. I was raped, molested, homeless, fired from my job, but not broken. Could it get any worse? But oh, when I feel the warmth of God's grace beaming on my face, knowing that he didn't have to spare me. He just want me to share with you. I can feel your pain. Just know that you won't have to cry no more. You mean the idea and notion that he wanted to use me to draw someone closer. So see, he gave me this gift of lyrical expression, which keeps me focused. And now and then when I lose my way in life, he reminds me that on October 18, 1990, he brought me back from the dead because I went up under the knife. I went in for a simple operation, carotid artery cut, mocked by a lack of sensation, blood transfusion, therapy, and a coma, because apparently he wasn't done with me yet. He expunged my wrongs and I'm extant, which means still standing. On that note, once again, I want to thank you, Mr. James Hudson.
My pleasure.
For coming and spending time with us, and also letting us hear, getting the first auditory of your CD entitled Timeless. And Mr. Kevin Huff, I don't know where I would be without you when I have IT problems at the university.
Thank you.
And this won't be the last time that we're together.
Amen.
And so I just want to thank you once again. I am Angela Champ, your host for Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart radio station. And until then, take us out.
Yeah. When I wake up in the morning, Lord, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, then something without warning, Lord, bears heavy on my mind. Then I think of you, and the world's all right with me. Just the thought of you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, a lovely day.